Okay, back-to-back video. Green Lantern Legacy. And what's funny is that I also have this kid's one as Batman Overdrive. It's funny that I'm literally doing this back-to-back. I haven't even put these guys away. But I'm happy that I got these two Batman books now. The Batman... Here, these two. Come on. Alright. The Batman Allies and the Batman Archives. And also, I got 4 and 5 of Batman Archives. So that's why I really hope they have the first 3 at my local library. And that's available when I solicit them. Because some of them, even though it says it's available, might not be available. Okay, so Green Lantern Legacy. I think that the Kids DC Inc. has done a lot more for making DC expand upon its regular Batman 146. You gotta read these Batmans before, but then these Batmans, it's doing a lot more. It's trying to get kids into Batman. And I think it's doing a really good job of it. Oh, sorry, the Green Lantern. Green Lantern. I haven't read this yet. But it's doing a lot to get... And even Batman. To get into Batman, Green Lantern, all these people. And Green Lantern is the character that I don't think a lot of kids know. I think 99%, maybe even 100% of kids know more about Batman than they do with Green Lantern. This is about to fall. I want that to fall. That'd be terrible, Just got the book and it would have been destroyed. So it gets kids into Green Lantern. Now, yes, it's a new character that's Green. It's a new character that's Green Lantern, and you could say, "Oh, it's woke, DC being woke," but it does it in a good way. It's not like everyone else besides the Chinese Green Lantern is a dick. All the other Green Lanterns are dicks. All the other people, it's not like that. It's like it's doing it in a very normal way. Like, there's the Chinese guy. I think he's Chinese. I want to say he's Chinese. I'm sorry if he's not, but I want to say he's Chinese. He's definitely foreign. Oh, is there a rip here? This library book that I have? Nope, there's not. Okay. Alright, sorry. I keep getting distracted by things I thought I saw. Alright. So yeah, and it was really good too. Like, I read it all in one day. I read half of it it was right when I went to that mall. I'm touching the outside of my nose. Right when I went to that mall 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And yes, it was 2 weeks ago. When I was on my way there, I read, actually on my way there, before I got picked up, I was reading it, and I'm on my way back for the other half. And I wasn't really bored with it. I mean, it got to be a lot, because it was more than I usually read for one sitting, for one book. But it never got too boring. Like, they knew how to do they knew how to do pacing. They didn't talk down to kids, either. In fact, I had to check multiple times, like, I'm going to remind myself that it was for kids. Because it doesn't talk down to kids. Like, you could pick it up, and you could get just as much, if not more, out of the Green Lantern Legacy for Kids book that you could if it was a young adult book. Which I hope it's not. I hope I didn't get the kids version. But you get just as much out of the kids version with the young adult one. And the young adult ones, I feel like are trying to be what it's not being, what DC isn't, and what DC doesn't stand for. And trying to be woke, and trying to have all these love tropes, and these they gotta be with this character, they gotta find love, they gotta find another partner, they gotta be like somewhat broken, they have to have like trials and tribulations. No, this Green Lantern wants to help out, and that's his top priority. He wants to help out. He wants mild spoilers. He wants to help out after his grandmother dies, and he wants to make her proud. And it's just that. It's not like, oh, the girl doesn't like me, or this girl likes me, but this girl doesn't. They don't do any of that horse shit. None of that horse shit is present in that Green Lantern Legacy book. At least I don't think that was. And if it wasn't prominent enough, or focused on enough. That's why I like that book. I can see that being a Green Lantern comic. That's the best thing. Is that the young adult ones, like, especially that atrocious Shadow the Batgirl one, I would know that's a young adult book. If that came out as a normal, like, Batman comic like this size, these are smaller than these, I would be like, was this supposed to be a young adult Batwoman? Batgirl, and we're because the other it was just funny. It was right after I read that amazing Scott Peterson. I want to say it was Scott Peterson, Batman. I just want to check something real quick. So I think I have one by Scott Peterson. But after reading that amazing Scott Peterson Batgirl, yep, the Gotham Adventures is by him. I think it was Scott Peterson. Anyways, it was like, yeah, that's why I wanted another Batgirl. And that show, the Batgirl, was like, he wanted this, and I'm like, no, I don't. Like the comics didn't feel the need. The first volume, at least, didn't feel like she needed to have a love interest. The show, the Batgirl, made it a mandatory thing. Like, we need to have our characters have a love interest. And it's like, no, not every book needs to do that. You do realize that for the young adult books or Child the Batgirl, you're not going to get any guys to read it. Because guys going to read it and be like, this is for girls. Little girls that want fantasies and shit. Like, oh, I want to be like Batgirl because she, even though she's in a wheelchair, yada, yada, and she's handicapped, which was not in a wheelchair, never mind, the other Batgirl was. But she's brought up by a bad family, and I didn't do enough for that bad family. The bad family almost seemed like it was like the same old. But that was one thing I was like, wow, I'm surprised I went to that extent that they did. It wasn't too far though. But yeah, to talk more about Shadow of the Batgirl than did Green Lantern Legacy. But Green Lantern Legacy is the total opposite of Shadow of the Batgirl, and it is the first DC young adult DC Inc. book that I highly recommend. Even the people that don't like those kinds of books are actively seeking to cancel those books because I will admit they are pretty bad. Most of them are pretty bad. But the DC Kids ones, it's ironic that it's more mature than the young adult ones. Nice job, DC. You done played yourself, I think. I don't know. But yeah, the Green Lantern Legacy, highly recommend. Go read it. And we're at 6 minutes. So yeah, it was damn good. One of the highlights, one of the best books I've read in the past few for Green Lantern. And it's funny because I haven't read many Green Lanterns. It's right in the middle between Green Lantern Emerald Dawn, which was amazing, and the other one I read, Green Lantern Corps, which is awful. It was so boring. How do you make Green Lantern boring? Green Lantern Corps by Dave Gibbons, Volume 1, To Be a Lantern. That's what it's called. It's Volume 1, To Be a Lantern. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But Green Lantern Legacy and Green Lantern Emerald Dawn, go find those and go read them. That's it.